right, as we get started learning about options, you're going to find that options are very strategic in nature, which means we can use them in a lot of different ways. But generally speaking, we like to bucket strategies for options into 3 different buckets. Let's break those down. Starting with the first, we're going to talk about a strategy called hedging. Now, hedging is a fancy term, but generally speaking, it just means we're trying to protect against some type of loss using an option. Let's imagine we owned XYZ stock. Our concern as a stockholder is what happens if the stock goes down in price? Well, that is a concern. And so we can go into the options market and create a strategy by creating a position. If the stock goes down in value, potentially the value of our options position will rise. So as the stock goes down, our options position potentially goes up, and that hedges our loss. Now, the second potential use of options is something we call generating income. Now, you might be asking, Obi, isn't that the point of trading and investing? We're trying to create income. It's because we're using some asset, in this case, let's just say a stock position, and we're using that as collateral to create an options position that we can collect income from. Remember, when you trade options, you don't always have to buy options. You can also sell them. So what that means is we can create an options position. And in this particular example, we might be selling that option, collecting a little income, and we're using our stock as collateral. An analogy I like to use is imagine if you owned a house, right? And you had a spare bedroom that you wanted to rent out and maybe make some side money. Well, using options to generate income is kind of similar. And so we're using this asset, in this case shares of stock, to collect income. Now, the third use of options, and one that probably people are more familiar with, is something we call speculation. Now, speculation is also just sort of a fancy term to say we're kind of guessing on where we think the direction of a stock might go in the future. So once again, let's draw a little stock chart here. Stock's going up, it's going down, and we may at some point want to make an opinion on where we think the stock will be at in the future. Now, with options, we can create strategies that potentially profit if the stock goes up in value, goes down in value, and even if the stock goes sideways. And that's kind of the versatility of options, which we'll talk about in future episodes. All right, one last thing to keep in mind. As we talk about the 3 different uses of options, it doesn't mean that we have to choose one or the other. As an options trader, we can choose to deploy these strategies based on what's happening in our portfolio. We might want to hedge a position. We might want to try to generate income using shares we own. And of course, if we wanted to, we might want to speculate on the future direction of a stock.